Okay, so today we're going to be doing this hinge assembly drawing, which is going to be comprised of two half hinges as well as this pin, and we've got all the dimensions there. It's going to look something like this here, and we're going to provide joints and motion as well. So it's going to be made up of three components, but we're going to draw each component on its own separate, as its own design file, and then bring them into an assembly file. So I'll show you how to do that here real quick. So we already got it saved as half hinge. We're going to go to create sketch, and we're going to draw a sketch on the XY plane. I'm going to do a circle that is going to be 8 millimeters, and then another circle, the same center point at 12. And then I'm going to extrude it up just the offset portion 100. Okay, so there is my cylinder. And now I'm going to draw the flap coming off of that cylinder. So we're going to start another sketch. And I'm going to draw it on, I'm going to open up my origin planes here. I'm going to draw it on this plane here. Actually, let me go back here. I'm going to create my new sketch on this plane. Alright, so I'm going to take this point here. I'm going to go over, it's going to end up being 52 millimeters. Oh, sorry, this is going to be 52 millimeters. And then my width is going to be, end up being 3. We'll go the other way, -3. We'll go 3 and then bring it up there. There we go. So there's my flap there. And I am happy with that sketch. So now I want to extrude it down. And we're going to go 100. Oh, we're going to go -100. Now, one thing I want to just quickly show you is, if you recall, like my first dimension was 8 millimeter diameter, my second dimension was 12 millimeter diameter, and my third dimension, or D3, was 100 millimeters up. So instead of saying 100, I can go -D3, and that's going to give me the same value. But now that it's locked into D3, that third dimension that I made, this extrusion here, if I ever wanted to change that extrusion, this extrusion here, my flap, is also going to change with it. So for example, if I go back to this extrusion here and I make an edit to that feature and I go 50 and then press OK, well, you'll notice that the flap here also updated because it's now related back to D3. And this can be seen if I go into my sketch. I'll go to my parameters here. These are all my parameters that I've created so far. So my parameters relating to dimension, to sketch 1, 8 millimeters, 12 millimeters, 15 millimeters is my length. So instead of D3, I could actually just call that, rename it length to make it easier to remember. And you'll see that that has updated my extrusion going down on my flap as well to negative length, so aka negative, in this case, 50. So that's the beauty of parametric modeling, is that you can have all your dimensions related to one another. So if you go back and change one thing, everything else, if it's related to it, will update as well. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind as we go forward here. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'll go back and we'll go 100 again. So you see that everything again is once again updated. So now my cylinder here, I got to cut 2 sections out of it. And so it's going to be made up of 4 sections, negative, positive, space. And they're going to be of equal length. So keep that in mind as I dimension this as well. So I'm going to start a new sketch again on this plane here as it intersects that cylinder. I'm going to once again go to intersect command to get some grab points on my cylinder. And I'm going to go to the rectangle tool. So my length here, I know again that my length is going to equal 100. So I'm going to call that length. I obviously don't want it to be 100 millimeters. I want it to be 100 millimeters divided by 4, as I'm dividing it into 4 sections. So I'm going to go divide by 4 and press enter. Now looks like I have to change that dimension here. That's going to be 12 millimeters, or I could put in D2 as that was my 12 millimeter diameter. So again, I'm relating it back to previous measurements, which is super beneficial. Okay, so I want to add another one of those again. So I'm going to take it right here, and I'm going to call that length divided by 4. And tab, and I'm going to call that D2. So there's another rectangle, and now I want to make sure that they're the proper distance apart from one another. So I'm going to go dimension, take those 2 lines, it's equal to 25. Let's do that again here. Dimension. Oh, okay. Looks like it's already been constrained to 25 and 25. So that's totally fine. That works. So I'm going to press finish sketch, and now I want to extrude those out, cut them out. So I'm going to take that profile and that profile, and I want to extrude out from either direction. So I'm going to go to symmetric, which is going to do that. And instead of a distance, I'm going to go to all. And so it just extrudes so it's out of cutting material. So I'm going to press OK with that. And I'm not going to bother with the holes just for the sake of time. But you should all be pretty comfortable doing that. So that will conclude my first half hinge. Now what I'm going to do here is open up another document. I'm going to call that Hinge. Oops. We'll save it and call it Hinge Assembly. So now this document is going to comprise of both half hinges as well as a pin. Alright, so to bring in previous models into the assembly, I'm going to go to my data panel here, and I'm going to take my half hinge that I've created. Let's take the ones I did with holes. So there's one, I need another one, so I'm going to drag that in as well, and I can move them over from one another. So press OK. So there are my 2 hinges. Now I want to join them together just like I did with my assembled box. So I'm going to press J for joint, and I'll turn off that panel there. and I'm gonna connect it at this pin here and this pin here. So obviously that's not right. I want to flip it so that my two hinges here are in other direction. Alright, and then I'm going to open it up to about 270 here. And now I'm going to adjust my motion. It's going to be revolute. And I'm going to set my minimum to 0, my maximum to 90. And my rest there. And I'm going to preview that. And that looks good to me. It shows that it does turn in the proper orientation. So I'm going to press OK there. And the last thing you got to do is just add my pin to keep the two parts together. So this is going to be a brand new component. So far I got half hinge here underneath in my project browser. So I want to go to my assembly tab up here and create a new component. I'm going to call this pin. Press OK. And now you can see I got one more component here. So I'm going to create a new sketch. I'm going to draw on the plane of the existing component, the half hinge here. I'm going to create a circle and a half circle. Press OK. And I'll extrude this bit down, and we can extrude it to 100 or negative 100 rather. Okay, I'm going to create a new sketch on this plane here and draw a circle. It's going to go all the way around and finish that up. And I'm going to extrude this up 2 millimeters, and there is my pin. So right now I'm currently got this activated, my pin component. So if I want to see everything, I'm going to go up to the hinge here, and this encapsulates my entire project, all my components. So once I got that clicked, now I can see sort of everything in action. I can turn off my pin, I can turn off half hinges, just look at one component at a time or a couple of them. I'm able to isolate, which is super handy as well. Alright, so that is my assembled hinge, and hopefully that helps you out.